And we are back. Welcome to the first ever FA Cup predictions video on the channel outside of the FA Cup final. This is the first time I've ever done an actual group of fixtures. And it is the last 16. So we have 4 matches for you in today's video. And we have another 4 matches for you in tomorrow's video, along with the 2 Premier League games. Let's just get straight into it because there are some interesting ties for you tonight. And there are some interesting predictions that I'm going to make as well. So we start off with Stoke against Brighton, and the old cliche gets rolled out once again. Will Brighton be able to do it on a cold, rainy night in Stoke? Now, Stoke aren't having the best of seasons in the Championship, and Brighton are having a very good season in the Premier League, albeit their last couple of results haven't really gone their way. However, Brighton are in a position that I don't think they probably expected to be in. They are very high up the table. They're potentially in a race for European places, whereas right now Stoke are near enough in a relegation battle in the Championship. So I think if any team is going to be making changes to their starting lineup tonight, it's more than likely going to be Stoke, whereas Brighton will see this as an opportunity to potentially get themselves closer to getting themselves into a major final and going for a trophy. So for me, I think Brighton will probably end up playing closer to their starting 11 than what Stoke will. And given the fact that Brighton have been the better team so far this season, I think Brighton will probably take the win, and I'm going to go for 2-1. I still think it'll be a tight game, as we all say. It is going to be a tough game going to Stoke on one of these evening games. So we'll see what happens, but I think Brighton take this one. Next up, it is Leicester up against Blackburn. Now, kind of like the flip reverse of the previous fixture, you have Leicester, who are, in my opinion, in a relegation scrap right now. They're only 3 points above the relegation zone in the Premier League, whereas Blackburn sit 4th in the Championship and are well within the promotion race. At the very least, they are in the playoff race, obviously already being in the playoffs. So it's an interesting one. It's a tight one. I think if both teams play their first teams tonight, this could be a really, really close game. However, I think Blackburn are more than likely to rest players. The Championship schedule is so hectic. There are so many games so often that I think Blackburn are probably going to need to rest some players tonight. And Brendan Rodgers historically has always played his best possible team in the Cups, whether or not Leicester are competing for the Champions League, competing for places in and around the European places, or like this season, are pretty much in a relegation scrap. Brendan Rodgers tends to always play his best team. So, in my opinion, if Leicester play their best team and Blackburn make changes, there's only really going to be one winner tonight, and that is going to be Leicester. But I still think it'll be reasonably close. I'm going to go for 1-0. And yeah, if Blackburn do play their first team on current form, this could be one that goes to extra time or penalties, or potentially even Blackburn stealing the win. Speaking of extra time and penalties, we move to the Fulham-Leeds game, and I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. Now, there are no replays from this point onwards in the FA Cup this season. Every game from this point on will go to extra time and penalties due to the busy schedule, including the World Cup in this season. And I just think this is a bit of a free hit for both teams. Now, Fulham are obviously doing well and above what everyone expected of them this season. They are already safe in the Premier League. They cannot get relegated at this point now. So they have already done that. That is a fantastic result for them. So this game just ends up being a free hit for them. However, Leeds are in the midst of a relegation fight themselves, but I think it could be an actual opportunity for Javi Gracia to test out the rest of his squad. And I think some of the Leeds squad that haven't really had the opportunities yet, some of the new signings they picked up, the likes of Rutte, I think this is a chance for them to express themselves tonight and try and cement a place in Leeds' starting lineup as Javi Gracia decides the team that he's going to build to try and keep Leeds in the Premier League. And I just think for whatever reason, Leeds are going to be more up for this tonight. And I've gone for the 1-1 draw, and my prediction will be that Leeds get the win in extra time or penalties after this one. Obviously, if Fulham play to their maximum potential, play their full first team, they are more than capable of winning this game tonight. But I just have a funny feeling on Leeds today, and that is why I am going for Leeds in extra time after a 1-1 draw. And finally, it's Bristol City against Manchester City. Bristol City sit smack bang in the middle of mid-table in the Championship. So, again, it's kind of a free hit for them up against Manchester City, but we've seen it with Manchester City so many times. It doesn't really matter what side Pep Guardiola usually puts out in cup competitions. Even if he changes his entire starting 11, that Manchester City team will still be on paper, way better than that Bristol City team. So it's hard for me to say that there's going to be any upset in this game tonight, and it's hard for me to say it's going to be anything other than a Manchester City win. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Man City. It really could be anything, and if Pep Guardiola feels like being absolutely merciless and playing his full first team, then it could be even more. So 3-0 to Manchester City in that one. I don't think many of you are going to be too surprised by that prediction there. And that is going to be it for today. Just the 4 fixtures. Like we said, we're going to do this all over again tomorrow. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who are you rooting for in this FA Cup if your team is already out? Do you see any upsets happening tonight or tomorrow? Drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new around here. I'll see you tomorrow morning.